Okay. Did that fix it? Is anybody there? I was talking and I realized I didn't hit the go live. I'm inside of a StreamYard. And of course, my girls want to act up. They've been quiet this whole time. Come here, Justice. If you guys can hear me, if anybody's there, drop something in the chat. Oh, it's one person I see. I don't know if it counts me, like I'm the person. Maybe I'm in here by myself. I just wanted to do a check-in with everybody. You guys are probably doing holiday stuff. I just wanted to let all my TTC sisters know that I'm thinking of you. I'm praying for you. I am lifting you up from afar. The holidays are especially difficult. The holidays are difficult no matter what, right? But they're also, I think, difficult when they're especially difficult when we're TTC, and so that can be hard. So I just want to encourage everybody and lift you up and encourage you to do what makes sense for you. Hey there, thank you. Hey Nicole, thank you. Do what makes sense for you, because I think, protect your heart above and beyond, and don't feel like you have to please anybody other than yourself for how you're feeling. It's hard when we're TTC, whether we've had a loss or not had a loss, we're still struggling, wherever we are in the journey, to go around family members during the holiday, right? And the holidays, it's all about family. People in general, even when you're not TTC, sometimes forget to respect the boundaries. Like, they think we are our 12-year-old version of ourselves. And so I just encourage you to draw clear boundaries for yourself if people are intruding on your privacy and saying things like, when are you going to have kids? Or diminishing anything if you've had a loss, like, oh, it wasn't meant to be, or God, that was in God's plan. Take it for what it's worth. They mean well, even though the words are tangled up. So I think, when you put them across a boundary, take them back across the line that they cross, at the root of it, try and remember that they mean well. And so that's why they're saying it, even though they might be saying it in a fucked up way, if that makes sense. But, protect your heart. And maybe if you are not ready to be around people, I think it's okay. Like, FaceTime them. You can always, blame it on COVID or whatever else, but you don't have to be around them. You know what I mean? Don't feel obligated. Think of yourself first and, what do you need? And just practice self-care in that way of, supporting your heart and your head and keeping everything in alignment within yourself. So, yeah, that's it. I just hope everybody's okay. I don't know if you're cooking or if you're just coming to eat, which is also awesome. I know a lot of people are probably doing desserts tonight. I don't know if I'm going to do mine. It's 5:37 right now, and they only sent one sweet potato with my grocery order. So maybe I might get one pie out of it. But Cheyenne said she would bring some sweet potatoes, but she just left for Francis's house. So she's probably going to be back. I was going to say when it's dark, but it's already dark. But she's going to be back when it's late, So we'll see. I have to be at the parade tomorrow. I have to queue up at 6:45 a.m. So I got to leave here no later than 6. I'm going to say 5:45 because y'all know I be running late. But I would say I got to leave here no later than 5:45 to get downtown. I think the plan is I'm going to get on the subway. I haven't been on the subway since last year, February. And I've been saying I'm going to get back on it, but tomorrow might be the day. And hopefully it's not crowded at 5:45 in the morning, but we'll see. Is it dark at 5 o'clock in the morning? Do you guys know? Does anybody in New York, or is it, I don't even know, but we'll see. We'll see. Cheyenne's friend is here from California, Jasmine. So they, we hung out last night, and they just went to Francis's together. But it should be a nice small Thanksgiving. I won't be cooking because I'll be at the parade. So my only contribution really is going to be the dessert. Whether that gets made tonight or tomorrow is TBD. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But you guys were all on my mind. You're on my heart, because I know it can be difficult going into the holidays while we're TTC, and whether to be around family, whether not to be around family. I think the holidays can be triggering for all of us, irrespective of TTC or not. At least for me, I've had family gatherings where people didn't cussed one another out, and so then you add infertility on top of that, and it can become really burdensome. So I would just encourage you to think of yourself, and like if it's staying home, if it's defining clear boundaries, whatever that looks like for you, I just encourage you to like think of yourself, take care of yourself, maybe do a little extra self care, a bubble bath, or not a bubble bath, not a bath with bubbles, but a warm bath, maybe with some Epsom salt. Just like feed your soul, feed your soul. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of feeding your soul, I'm also going to be feeding my belly in the most literal sense. So we're having turkey breasts, collard greens, mac and cheese. We're going to keep it simple. Oh, maybe I should make cornbread. I didn't want to do stuffing, but maybe cornbread would be good. Totally not keto. Don't ask me if it's keto. It's not. But it's yummy. Hey, Sunshine, self-care very needed right now. Found out 2 days ago. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Sunshine. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And then every Thanksgiving, you're going to think of that. You know what I mean? Like, my miscarriage in 2017, the baby would have been born in November. Like, it was I don't know if it was Thanksgiving that year, but I believe it was November 27th. And then in 2018, I had my retrieval the day after Thanksgiving, and then I had my transfer the Monday after Thanksgiving. So, definitely just figure out how to take care of yourself. Let people support you. You know what I mean? You don't have to prove how strong you are. If there are people in your life who know and they're like, let me come and do the dishes I hope you open up your heart to accept that. And cry. Like, crying can be so therapeutic. Crying is not a sign of weakness. Vulnerability is actually strength, right? And so allow yourself time to grieve. Know that you didn't do anything wrong. It's not your fault. Your body isn't broken. You're whole and complete. And unfortunately, it's just some shitty thing that happens. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, yeah. Hopefully, when you are ready to try again, if and when you are ready to try again, you get your rainbow baby. But yeah, just take care of yourself. Do a lot of self-care along the way. Treat your body. It's your body is having a traumatic experience as well as your heart and your mind. Like, be good to yourself. Just be good to yourself as best that you can, and allow others to be good to you. Hey, Vicky. Other people are chiming in. Hey, Lady Leo. Giving you condolences too, Sunshine. It's hard. It's just hard either way. So yeah, Angie is saying she's sorry, and Vicky is praying for you, and yeah, we all are. We all are. So yeah, expect that the holidays are going to be a little harder this year for you. And it's okay. It's okay to feel whatever you're feeling. It's okay to go through whatever you're going through. Don't try to fake it or put on a happy face for other people. Like, they might be uncomfortable, but they might just need to get comfortable being uncomfortable because you're going through something, You are most welcome, Sunshine. You are most welcome. And I'm really, really sorry for your loss. I'm so sorry. And I know that doesn't do it justice, but nonetheless, I'm sorry for your loss. These little babies don't even have an idea of how much they've been prayed for and loved into existence when they get here. Like, because I believe all our take-home babies are coming. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I believe that they are coming. And mine is going to be spoiled. I don't know about everybody else's, but my baby is going to be spoiled because oh my God, just in love alone. I'm not even talking about like financial or like consumer things, but just in love. I'm going to pour so much love all over this baby and just like kisses from head to toe and, just so grateful. Because it has been a journey. It ain't called a journey by accident. It's, it's not called a stroll. It's not called a jaunt. It's a journey. It's a journey. Hey, Natasha, sending positive energy right back to you, sis. Right, Lady Leo? They are on the way for sure. I can feel it now. I don't even know how to explain it, but I just have this. Like, I don't have the anxiety about it anymore of like, win. I know it's happening. I know it's happening, so it gives me, sorry, I just got something stuck in my throat. I can just feel it. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I have a tingling, like, in a good way. I'm not anxious about it anymore. Like, I know my baby is coming. I know our babies are waiting, you know? So, and I know they're going to be loved. It makes me so mad. So there was these like, you know, I'm into true crime. I think I said that a million times. I don't know. I just suddenly got cold too. It's like 70 something degrees in here. I gotta chill. Maybe it's my baby. Like, yes, mom. Yes, I'm coming. Anyway, I watch a lot of true crime, and there's this one kid, Dakota Collins. He was a young man. I want to say he died like right before his 11th birthday. But his name is Dakota Collins. His father took him to Ohio, which I've now seen so many child deaths out of Ohio. I'm nervous. Like, I don't even want to go near the border of Ohio. Anyway, mom lost custody because she had been back and forth into a drug treatment. Like, and she had gotten probation, and then she finally was convicted. Like, she violated her probation and had to do some time. And so at that time, oh great, I got something on my pants. At that time, dad got custody and won custody. I can't remember what state they were originally from, but wherever it wasn't Ohio. Maybe Wisconsin. And so when the mom got locked up, the dad moved to Ohio. He petitioned the court saying he was moving to Pennsylvania, but he moved to Ohio. He was abusing the little boy. The teachers were complaining about it, right? Because it's a mandatory, mandatory reporters. So and then he was cussing out the nurse, like, I don't ever want him back in the nurse's office because he had like bumps and lumps. And of course, the teacher sent the child to the nurse. And so finally he got fed up. He took the boy out of the school. Started homeschooling. The dad had only went to 8th grade. So somebody should have called bullshit on that. And I've seen so many cases where this is going to be a trigger warning for anybody. It's a true crime. So trigger warning. If it's not for you, I'm not offended. I'm just letting you know if you need to drop out. But so he was homeschooling his son for 2 years or a year and a half. And then the day that the boy passed, he calls 911. It's like, he's not responsive. I put him in the bathtub trying to wake him up, but he's not responsive. Paramedics come. The boy is naked. The dad is like nervous and weird. The girlfriend who lives there has left with the dad's brother, who is a little boy, the favorite child. This man had his son living in the attic naked. He was naked all the time. The police searched the house. There were no clothes in the house to fit a boy his size. There was only clothes for the little boy. The room was filled with fecal matter, buckets of fecal matter, feces, and urine. This is where he had his son living for the year and a half that he was being homeschooled. It's on YouTube, the Blue Dot Interrogations, if you look up Dakota Collins. The dad was interviewed for like 2 hours, and he said the most horrific shit. He had molested his child with the leg of a stool. He was inserting it in his butt, in the little boy's butt. And it reminded me, there's another little boy where they thought he was gay and they killed him. So basically that is what he ended up saying, is like, oh, he was running around naked in front of the little boy, which is actually his uncle. I know it's a little weird. His uncle was younger than he was. And dancing, and he was dancing all the time. And then the dad accidentally slipped and he said something, I can't remember what he meant to say, but he said homophobic. And I'm like, it's a Freudian slip because he's homophobic. But the little boy passed away at the hospital. And so they had this whole interrogation. So the dad got convicted. The dad got life. But while he's in there, he knows that once he finds out his son is dead, he's only concerned about himself. And trying to convince him that the little boy put his own behind on the stool leg. So long story long, I say all that to say there's all these horrific things that people are doing to children and not realizing like what a blessing children are not seeing. Like, why didn't you return that child to his mother? Like, or put him somewhere else if he was and he was like beating him, and it was crazy to a 10-year-old. Like, what type of monster are you? Heartbreaking. So I see these and I'm like, I know God has a child for me. I know God knows how much this child is going to be loved and taken care of and valued and teaching and taught. Oh my God, clearly not taught English by me, but taught that they have value. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just know there's a baby waiting for me. Hey, Mrs. Living in Hope. Oh my God, I was going off about my crew chime adventures. And like people not appreciating children. Oh my God, Mrs. Living in Hope. We have to set it up. I want to do it next week, the Google Meet where we talk about that, the article you sent me. I think that is going to be so powerful. Yeah. I also like think that women who are considering donor eggs or who eventually have donor eggs, I think it's additionally complicated when you have a partner versus when you don't. You know what I mean? I think there's a whole thing to that. I mean, I don't want to get into it too much here, but I will say, like, why wouldn't she do a surrogate with a donor egg? Like, why have him go off and have a relationship? But we'll get into that in the Google Meet. I'm just calling it, there's bullshit somewhere in there. Like, something is not right. But I'm glad that they shared publicly this because I think it allows everyone to have a conversation about donor eggs and what the impact is for the mom and the dad if they're partnered, or just for the mom if they're not. Because I had that concern of like, will my child be accepted as family? And I have that concern because like who I knew as my grandfather, I remember he passed, and at the funeral, like people were pointing out who his real grandchildren were because we weren't biologically related. Only my aunt and uncle were biologically related, but my grandmother had children with with him. Those two were the children they had together. She already had kids when they got together. But like, your husband now becomes related to your children. You know what I mean? But I guess is that what they say, like by marriage or by blood? Like a relative is a relative. It annoys me when people are trying to. So I just think about that with like the donor egg situation. I absolutely know there will be family members who will not claim my child because it doesn't have my bloodline or our collective bloodline, you know? But I'm not into that when people are like, it's your half, because if I half everybody, then I don't have any brothers or sisters. If it's only my brother or sister, if we have the same mom and dad, then I'm an only child, which clearly I'm not. You know what I mean? So I always am curious, like, why, and is that only like a black thing? I don't know if everybody else does that. Like, are other people calling like halves of relatives? I don't know. But like, my child is going to be my child, irrespective of our genetics. Do they do that with adopted children? It's like, you're not really, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But anyway, it definitely brings awareness when we talk about it. I agree. Me and my husband use donor eggs. I'm not. Oh, congratulations, S Silk. That's so exciting. So yeah, I think that's interesting because you have to obviously have a conversation with your husband about it or whomever, or like I really only had a conversation with my mom and my sister. Like, I didn't have to ask for a man's opinion on it because there wasn't a man that's going to be involved. But I'm really would love to talk to people who are married and are either considering donor eggs or have done donor eggs, and like, what was that conversation like? Because I only want to do it, like, not to be nosy. I mean, I think there's something to learn from it, but I think also to, like, bring awareness to other women who are considering it, or who, if their husband is dead set against donor eggs, or if they're dead set against their husband conceiving with donor eggs, what is that about? And I only ask out of, like, because I have a different perspective on it, of like, what is the perspective of like, we can't, in the same way that I'm like, I won't do a surrogate, you know what I mean? Like, I get that some people will, but I won't do a surrogate with donor eggs. Let me say, I don't know if I would do a surrogate either way, because I'm just like, what is she eating while my baby's in there? What is she doing? You know what I mean? Like, I would be the hoverer of like calling. I'll be sending groceries, meals, something, because I'm like too much of like what's happening. Because I do understand epigenetics, right? And so if a surrogate is carrying my child, her epigenetics are transferring to my child. In the same way, when I'm carrying a donor egg conceived child, at least they're getting my epigenetics. So there's some of my like DNA of not of what genes are there, but how the genes that are there present themselves, how they develop, So I feel like that part is important too. I'm excited for you though, so congratulations. And you're 24 weeks, so you're more than halfway there. That's gonna be amazing, and I'm sure your child is gonna be super loved and welcomed and appreciated. Because baby, I know you worked for this one. It's a lot. So yeah. Let me see. I only share a dad with one of my sisters, but I do not do the half thing either. I'm just as close and feel the same love for her. Me too. And sometimes I just get so tired of explaining it, because I have a brother and sister in common with my mother, and then I have like, oh my god, I lose track of the boys. But I even include my sisters by marriage in my sister count. You know what I mean? Like they're just my sisters. Like I don't treat them any differently. Like, and it, so I feel like labeling it or calling the label out all the time, the only reason is to differentiate. And I'm like, or differentiate, but I'm like, who are you differentiating for and why? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, yeah. My husband is okay. I'm just not there yet. Okay. It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting. You would carry, though, in his proposal, right? If you guys did donor, and you would carry the child. Or I'm saying in his proposal, not that I'm pushing you into one or the other. Vicky, you and your husband are using donor eggs also. He was on board, but I had to come to terms with it. Oh, interesting. Yeah. I am going to be like completely transparent. If I were partnered, I don't know if I would be okay with it. I don't know. But I think also, just for context, because I'm not trying to talk in code, Mrs. Living in Hope sent me an article about Tammy Roman and saying that her partner could go and leave and have a child and then come back. Like, she didn't want to do IVF or do needles or whatever, she just wasn't into it. And she has children already. So that's just kind of the background of what I was referencing. And my question was why, like, my question is why not donor eggs for her and a surrogate? Like, because she's saying she would welcome the child in after it was had, but she just doesn't want to carry because she's busy and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, surrogacy and donor eggs would also, so there's something else in there is all I'm saying. There's something else going on. But I think that would be hard for me. And I'm trying to, there was one thing she said in the article is he's the one who wants the legacy. So, I'm good. And so maybe that's why it would be hard for me, like with the husband, because then it's like his legacy and I'm not a part of it. Even though I technically am because of the epigenetics, right? Like how the genes have expressed themselves. But that's an ego. Like, I'm just honest. That is my ego talking. Like, my heart would have to have a different conversation. That's purely my ego, like where I'm at in there. You know what I mean? Where I'm at. Like, it's all him and some other woman. Like, it would be hard for me, and maybe there's therapy for this, to not see the other woman when I see him, or when I see the child. I don't know. It's never and listen, it was not an easy decision for me to go to donor eggs without being partnered. But I think, I don't know. I'm in my mid-40s. We tried all the other fertility methods. It is just what worked for us. I cannot speak to anyone else. Exactly. But I think the more we talk about it, the more, and not you specifically, or anyone specifically, but I'm talking about it on my platform to help normalize it, because I think we don't talk about it enough. And so then it becomes a secret, right? And then secrets become power. And so let's take the power away, and let's just talk about like what we're doing and how we choose to complete our family. Or what options were available to us, so that other people know that there are options if they are interested. Not to force it on anyone. I'm not out here trying to sell anybody on donor eggs. My glasses are so crooked. I'm like, I'm not out here trying to convince anyone, but I definitely want to use my platform to talk about it, and so people know it's an option. Because then we take the power back, the power from how we go about it, the availability of other donors being compensated well. Like, that's my biggest pet peeve. Are these donors being compensated appropriately, or are they being sold short? Because there is a shortage on Black donors. I know there's also a shortage on Indian donors. I haven't connected with any other women of color who are TTC and using donor eggs, but there are, it's a small number. I know CNY has a lot of them, or not a lot. They have a healthy amount. They rotate them in and out, but I know they don't get paid well because I can see what CNY is charging for it. And so I know the donors are not being paid well based on that amount that they're charging. And so I think that's wrong. I think they should be compensated fairly because they're in demand, but if we don't talk about it, we don't know they're in demand, right? And we just leave it on the doctors. Oh, there's not a lot because there's not a lot of like Black women doing donor eggs. The celebrities aren't going to tell us, but I mean, 99.9% chance that Janet Jackson used donor eggs. I get why she wouldn't want to talk about it because her child is in the public eye. And you don't want to necessarily tell your child's story, and like because she's famous it can never be untold. Like little kids on the playground be like, oh, your mom used donor egg, you know what I mean? It's like, so I get why she wouldn't, but I think like regular people like me, I'm gonna tell my kid anyway. It's not like they're gonna be taunted by it, and I don't know that I'll show my child's face on the internet, you know what I mean? Like, or maybe after a certain age, like, y'all gonna get to see a pig, calm down, but maybe after a certain age, you know, like it's a private thing. It's a very personal choice. Why each of us have come to it or chosen not to, it's a very personal choice. But I think if we talk about it, I mean, panties are private, right? But we talk about it, so it's a normal thing. It's not like a stigma of like, oh my God, she has on panties. So I think if we talk about it, it won't be like, oh my God, she used donor eggs, or she used, you know what I mean? I think once it's normalized, all bets are off, and we have more options. And people are compensated fairly and charged a fair price. Yeah, don't get me started on my social change, but I just think we talk about it in the same way, talking about, because if we don't talk about it, we can't support each other. Talking about grieving the loss when you move to donor eggs, because that was something, even though I'd watched a lot of people talk about using donor eggs, nobody had talked about grieving the loss. And then I saw a post on Instagram and I was like, oh my God, we got to talk about this. So I started talking about it. That's a loss because now we're going to become parents in a way that we didn't imagine, right? We hadn't imagined when we were little or whenever our dream of having a child began. Donor eggs were not a part of it. And so it's a loss, and you have to mourn that you've moved on. But if nobody's even talking about donor eggs, we can't get to the part about talking about the grieving, you know? So I just think it gives us more power. I'm using a surrogate, and I'm very worried about what food, soap, and environment. Oh my God, that is exactly how I would be, Siobhan. I would be sending her stuff. I would be asking stuff like, phthalates, are you eating out of plastic? Are you heating up food in plastic? You know, all of those. I would be so worried about it. It would, and I'm sure, like, I don't know how it works, but I'm assuming that's part of like the vetting process when you select, because I've watched enough surrogate videos of like what they don't go into the exact questions, but there is a process, a vetting process, and like the family chooses the surrogate. So that would definitely be like, what are you eating? Like, what's your lifestyle? Where do you live? You know, like not your address, like I'm gonna stalk you and bring you food, but meaning in what type of environment are you living with your mom, because these women are young, are you in a healthy relationship, like all of that, because that impacts the baby in utero, you know. But congratulations, Siobhan. How far along are you guys in the pregnancy? That's super exciting. Let's see. I don't do half siblings either. I am biologically my parents' only child, but my brothers and exactly, Angie. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I am biologically my parents' only child. I like that, because that is what I am. But my siblings are my siblings. I like the way that you phrased that. I've seen your videos. I had to kind of grieve the loss of my own eggs. Yeah, exactly. What did Nova Lynn say? I missed it. I agree with Nova Lynn. Oh yeah, I only shared. I did see that. Okay, I've been talking so much. It was a process for me. Yeah. Hey Janaea, how are you? I'm on hold with donor eggs because I met someone and now feeling like I want to build. Oh, that's beautiful. Is it like I'm following your business? Is it the someone that you post on Instagram? That's beautiful. If she'll be on board, but want to discuss using her eggs before using my embryo. Oh, I like that. Yeah, because your embryos are on ice. So, oh well, that'd be cool. Would you want to carry? Like, would you do reciprocal, or would she carry? Because I actually watched this woman. They did reciprocal IVF, but that's not what her channel is about. But because she had talked about it in one video, and then I spoke with her partner, I was trying to interview her partner about it, but she was kind of sketchy. She's not really on the internet like that. But they did reciprocal IVF, and I thought that was super dope. And then I also watched Q and Jamila. They both carried, but it was with their own egg. And I actually need to catch up on theirs because Jamila just had a breast reduction surgery, but Q carried first. Her daughter looks exactly like dead on. And then I haven't seen Jamila's baby yet. She's had her though. I mean, they've had her bundled up. If I saw her face, I don't remember. But who do they really look like in the beginning? I think they're, what is it called? It's like nature's DNA test. Most children come out looking exactly like their father, and it's to protect the child because, you know, back when we were more primitive, if the woman was pregnant by somebody else, they would murder the child because they're not going to provide for the child. I know it's really grim. Sorry, I just went to another dark place. But nature's DNA, the child is generally going to look like the XY contributor to their DNA. Thank you, Kay. I appreciate you. I would carry the child. If we have to do one more cycle, he feels the odds are better with donor eggs. Yeah. I mean, you have to know in your heart. I'm not going to encourage you one way or the other because obviously you have to live with the decision. Ultimately, like, I'll share what it came down for me is like I wasn't ready to stop the journey, and I felt in my heart I was meant to be a mom again, and that there was a soul waiting for me, and I had to decide, was I going to answer the call of that soul? You know what I mean? And so that was it. And I felt like ultimately there's a soul coming to me. That soul does not have to be genetically related to me. Like my grandmother, the grandmother that I knew, was not related to me. She was not related to my mom. My mom was orphaned at 14. And this is the woman who eventually adopted her. But that's my grandma. Like I'll fight you over that. That's my grandma. We don't have one drop of blood in common. And so I was like, and I know I loved her. I still love her, but I loved her so much. I remember the day she died. She was like a big influence on my life. Our souls were meant to be connected. And so for me, I knew that this soul was calling me and that I was going to answer. And so that was the part of like, when I made that one video, I was like, I don't know who needs to hear this. I still had to grieve though. I'm not saying that I skipped over the grieving part because even though once I made the decision, what I was feeling didn't have a name. And I wasn't questioning my decision because, you know, I was diehard and I'm never, ever, ever going to do it. So once I made the decision, once I announced it publicly, like I was all in. But I needed to grieve, and I didn't know I needed to grieve. So I do wish doctors would talk about that more, and hopefully by all of us talking about it, they'll start to. Because I think that you have to tee up that conversation when you ask a woman, would she consider donor eggs? You have to tee it up with, I know this is not how you thought you would be a parent, and this is going to be a loss for you, but ultimately you're going to get a baby in your hands. Like, that's the conversation. This is going to be a loss for you because you're going to become a parent in a way different than what you imagined, but you're still going to become a parent. So that's my 2 cents on it. But definitely follow your heart. Multiple cycles once I'm physically up to it until we are successful, we could use my own eggs. I understand. Yeah, the grief is real. It keeps me up at night. It has me emotionally eating because I would love to have a baby with my husband that is genetically ours. Of course, that's what you imagined when you married him. You looked in his eyes, and when you thought we're going to have children together, you thought they were going to be genetically related to you. So the grieving is letting that go. Or continuing to believe it's going to happen and take those steps. You know what I mean? So I don't think you can be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Like, you'll have to decide. And if you're willing and he's willing to continue with your own eggs, then that's what you're meant to do. You know what I mean? But even on the journey, like it being unsuccessful, that grief is real too. Like every time we have a fail cycle, that's something to grieve. So like, and I think it's hard. It's hard for therapists because it's like you are going through all the stages of grief every month. I know I did 4 months in a row or 3 months in a row. Let me keep it real because I had the ERA and then I did 3 cycles back to back. So I had 3 things to grieve, 3 cycles of, and truth be told, by the third one, I realized I haven't even properly grieved the first one. Like I'm just dusting myself off like, oh yeah. But yeah, I picked the donor alone because it didn't sit well with me letting my husband pick his baby mama. He also agreed. He said that it made him feel weird. Exactly, Vicky. Oh my God. I'm glad he agreed. And especially because, I mean, you saw, like, my clinic doesn't use photos. Like, I got a celebrity lookalike headshot photo. But when I was looking for donors, the women are like bikinis. Like, what does that have to do with being like a good egg donor? Like, is that for the men? I feel like it's eye candy. Or like imagining partnering with it, because I think parenting or becoming a father is more sexual, I think, for a man than a woman. I don't know. I've never been a man. But for whatever reason, they're making the woman attractive. Or maybe she just woke up bad. You know what I mean? She just like in a bikini, bam, I woke up like this. But it was too many photos of women in bikinis. And I just was like, are y'all trying to sell the sex part? Because I'm only interested in the eggs. And I'm saying that as a woman who likes women. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on here? I went to the home. She is currently 16 weeks. Oh, yay. That is so cool. You went to the home, to her home? I love it. Congratulations. So you'll be having your anatomy scan soon. Hey, Meme or Mimi. You're going to use donor eggs. I'm mixed, black, white. So due to limited choices, I chose a Caucasian female donor, an African-American male donor. I'm going to write a book to share the journey. Oh, I love that. That is so beautiful. I love that. Oh, my God. Yeah, my male donor, he's not Caucasian, but he's multiracial. And my female donor is black. Not American, though. Yeah, that's awesome. I would really love for her to carry, to love her through a pregnancy and have that experience, but she had a traumatic, and had incompetent cervix, and she's scared I would like to carry. Oh my God. That made me feel so warm and fuzzy just thinking about you loving her through the pregnancy. But oh yeah. So I think you were on the IG Live when this came up. Somebody just had a loss due to incompetent cervix, and so now she's doing the transabdominal cerclage. But that's an anxiety thing. Like not having had as traumatic a loss as what you're describing, just having like a regular miscarriage, I still, like, next pregnancy feel anxiety about it. Having had 2 miscarriages the last time I was pregnant, how could I not? You know what I mean? So having had a loss like further along, how could she not be traumatized by it? And so it would just be a fearful pregnancy for her. But maybe if you carry one, and it goes well, that will encourage her to try again, or maybe not. But I think it's gonna be beautiful, though. I'm so excited for you. Like, that's powerful. That's super powerful. Vicky's okay. And as Silk is saying, she picked the donor egg alone as well. That warms my heart, because I honestly got such a yucky feeling about those photos that I was seeing of the women, especially like compared, it just reinforces like what a patriarchal society you are. When the men are there, I don't get to see a picture of a grown man in his bathing suit. Like, I'm seeing him as a little child, like totally a non-sexual selection versus the other very sexualized selection. So that, options for it. Because I know some people are like, oh, well, you can see the men grown if you pay for it and blah, blah, blah. But so do I have to pay to see the women as children? Like, I make it make sense for me. Make it make sense. If you can tell one thing that turned the point, in other words, what flipped the coin, maybe I missed it. I'm not sure how long ago I said that, but I think I explained it, like, where I finally was like, there's a soul waiting for me. That soul doesn't have to be related to me. And then I talked about my grandma. see at least one positive HPT before I go to donor eggs. That's fair. That is fair, Mrs. Luna Hope. Your heart knows what you have to be ready. You have to know. And so all I can say is you'll know when you know. It's not for anybody else to judge or to push or to coax you into. You'll know when you'll know, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're a mom with regret. Like you're like, I finally decided to use donor eggs, even though I wasn't ready. I felt pushed into it. And then now I have this child that I'm not sure I even want. You know what I mean? Like you have to figure that out. And so take your time. Baby, you can do it. Take your time. Do it right. You know, it's no shame in that. It's no shame in asking for the space for that either. He didn't want to look either. The pictures were of the real woman, not a lookalike. Yeah. Oh my God. Sorry about that, guys. I slid one too many. I was like, I thought I just lost this whole thing, but I hit undo. Sorry, I don't even remember what I was saying. I just scared the bejesus out of myself right now. Oh, I think Mrs. Living in Hope, you'll know, and don't feel pressured. You want to be with no regrets, and the sexy pictures. I think we were talking about those too. So the ones I was looking at originally, I think that's where I was. It was the real women, and I just felt super uncomfortable, like seeing them half dressed or like ass poked out. It was like whoa, especially because I did donor eggs and donor sperm. So when I picked the male donor, the pictures are like of them as children. And you can pay to get their adult pictures, but they're very like, I'm at a wedding adult pictures. You know what I mean? It's not them in like a bathing suit or like in a sexualized way. So it made me uncomfortable that the female donors were being sexualized, because we're using IVF because sex is not working for conceiving. It's just however we get down, or because we're in a same-sex relationship that doesn't allow for conceiving. So I don't feel like the donor process should be sexualized. That's just me. And I'm also like being auntie to these young women who are being sexualized because they're in their 20s, do you know? So it's like, why make them feel like they're doing something strange for a piece of change? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. I mean, I do. I'm being facetious. I understand there's patriarchy. I understand that sex sells. I understand is it commoditized? They're being created into commodities. And I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it at all. Siobhan, I have a transabdominal cerclage, and that's why I chose to go. Oh, you do have a transabdominal. Okay, and that's why I chose to go the surrogate route. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. Janaya is fortunate enough to be in a situation where there are two uteruses, so she has two options. So either of them can carry, and it sounds like Janaya is going to be the one to carry. Hey, Olivia Pope. Like, some viewers feel entitled to know I do feel that, Olivia, but I know there are things that you keep private for various reasons. I do keep things private for various reasons, but I do feel like some viewers either, I don't know if it's the entitlement, the audacity, I have a platform, so clearly what I want to share, I have an ability to share that, and so I feel like because I am so transparent, people should respect the boundaries, but I can show you better than I can tell you. So from now on, if people cross the line, I'm going to call it out because I'm not here for it. Or I think before I was more inclined to let it slide. And in between the live on IG and here, I went on to see Chasing Butterfly because someone was saying she had her baby Noah, and I was like, I haven't gotten caught up. But she was posting one before she had the baby about how people were coming for her, and she has the cerclage and has had a loss before, and they're coming for her about what her content is about and how frequently it's coming up, and I'm like, how fucking rude. And I know E. Grinks, when she had her babies, I think she had twins. Either way, when she had a take-home baby after a loss, she was slow in posting, rightfully so, because she's enjoying and loving on the baby that she worked so hard to get here. And people were pissed off about, they made the comments of like, how dare you, we were here for you, how dare you not show us the baby, how, and it was like, are y'all for real? Like, the baby is what she worked for, not you guys. My sister wants to know every single detail, and it's sometimes overwhelming. I'm not always comfortable sharing my struggle, particularly when things don't plan out as I had hoped. I think you're right to be concerned. I think you're right to question it. My suggestion, just based on my own experience, is be clear on what she can do to support you and tell her, this is what you can do to support me, and this is too far. Like, you've crossed a line. I need you to walk back over, because it's a super emotional journey. And I think letting her know in a constructive way, because you don't want to necessarily scare her away or offend her, but you also want to be clear on what the boundaries are. And so I think by framing it on, this is what you can do to support me, like, I'm struggling and this is hard, but this is what you can do to support me, and give her feedback on whatever it is. Like, if it's, don't ask me how I'm doing, like, or don't ask me about the TTC, ask me how I'm doing, and then that opens up the conversation if I'm willing to share. But then don't. I mean, I had group therapy on, we had it on Monday. That's why I'm off. We had it on Monday because this week is Thanksgiving. As soon as I came in, somebody was like, are you pregnant? So I had to have the conversation about, like, that's not an appropriate question to ask someone who's TTCing. If I'm pregnant and if I'm ready to share, I will do so when I'm ready. Like, having had 2 miscarriages, I don't know when I'm going to share it. And that's even for you guys. Like, I don't think I'm going to do my next transfer in real time. I don't think I'm going to reveal the pregnancy until I'm ready. And that's just what it's going to have to be. Like, I don't feel like I owe anybody. I'm absolutely 1000% grateful for all of you who follow my journey, who watch my video diaries. I'm 1000%, but in no way, shape, or form do I feel like I owe any of you anything. And I hope none of you feel like it, because let me set the record straight. I don't. And so I would hold my family in that same regard of not owing them anything. But the fact that she's asking means she's interested and invested. And so I would leverage that to not push her away, but to draw her in the best way to support you, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. It can be tricky. And I think the more we talk about it, the more we normalize all of it, then people learn from it, right? And we teach them how to support us. Hey, Natasha. Oh, hey, LaShonda. Shanae is like, hey. I know some photos were raunchy. I thought, if I used her eggs, will my daughter be a thought, right? Those chicks were eliminated immediately. Listen, this is what I'm saying. But obviously the agency, someone is telling them that's appropriate, because they're taking them and they're publishing and they're showing them to paying customers. So it's being supported somewhere. I'm not for it though. But SOS brand, SOS. Oh, I'm way behind in these comments because I haven't said that in a minute. Oh, that's you guys. That's when I went out. You guys are like, Tanika, oh no, what happened? Yeah, I'm here. Not a thought. 44 watching. Please hit. Oh yes, please hit the like board. Oh, we at 48. I can't see the likes because I'm inside of the StreamYard. But not a thought. That hoe over there. Yeah, like I was. You can't even go on there for kicks and giggles. So I was gonna say that, but I do want to respect everybody's privacy, because they do make you have a login, so there's an email and accountability. But if you're considering donor eggs, or you might be considering them in the future, just log in and check them out. I think that was one of the things that drew me to Columbia, is that because I expressed that in my interview when I was considering it, and I don't want to say, I mean, I guess I'm interviewing them, they're interviewing me, like, is this the right program for me? And they would send a celebrity lookalike. So my celebrity is Serena Williams. My donor, my egg donor looks like Serena Williams. And then I have a profile of like all of her attributes and like what she does, like how she's currently employed, her education level, and all of those things. And I will say, when I first started, before I went through the grieving process and I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulders, like, well, if I gotta use a donor eggs, this better be a bad bitch. She needs this degree and this and this. And then I was like, as I kind of calmed down, I was like, I actually was like, does she need a college degree? Like, she was 27. I didn't graduate from college till I was 31. So why am I holding this person to a higher standard than the one I held myself to? You know what I mean? And it said in her bio that she was going to go back to school. Which if she does or she doesn't, at that age, that's where I was. And so it was like, it didn't really matter like what she looked like, but it did as far as influence like my two donors, because I was kind of doing a little chemistry of like mixing the two to get a child that looks similar enough to pass for my own. Even though I'm going to be fully transparent to the child about it, I don't want the child to have to keep explaining it to everybody else if they don't want to. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, if I brought home an Asian child, that child's going to get questions when I drop them off at the daycare, right, or school. They're 1,000% going to get questioned. Or if I brought home a Caucasian child, that child is going to be questioned. So I'm saying that to be the extreme. I was not looking for that. I'm saying that to be the exaggerate my point of like why it was important for the child to look similar to me. So in the same construct, like if I pick two donors where the child would look nothing like, be obviously not mine, when that child gets dropped off, there's going to be a conversation, there's going to be questions. And so I just want to make sure that it's of their own volition when they tell, if they tell that they were donor conceived. It's not like prompted by inquiries on the playground, if that makes sense. So I'm not wearing a wig, Tarot Star. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, but if there's another inappropriate conversation, I'm going to block you. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But this is my hair growing out of my head. Posting videos are better for the ladies who are content creators. The most aggressive ladies in most cases do not have a channel. Exactly. Because I finally had to block someone, Mrs. Living in Hope, where they were like, they were delayed, but I had announced in a live how many days I was post-transfer. So somebody kept coming, these are old videos. We don't want to watch these videos. Are you pregnant or not? Like, that doesn't sound loving. That doesn't sound encouraging. Read a book on persuasion. If you're trying to actually get me to respond to that, you went about it in all the wrong ways. You know what I mean? So like, who knows? Thank you. I will, Lily Mae. I actually need to go. For my other channel, I actually need to go edit some videos, and it's 6:26. So 4 minutes, we're going to wrap up. I know we've talked about everything all around the Mulberry Bush, but I did want to come in and just do a mental health check with everybody. If you need me, feel free to email me or DM me. Email me at tanika@simplytanika.com. DM me on IG, simply.tanika. I know it's a rough time. Holidays are rough, irrespective of what we're doing. They're particularly rough when we are trying to conceive, whether we've had a loss or not, and we're thinking about how old that child would be, or if family members don't know we're trying to conceive and they're asking questions like, oh, when are you going to give us a grandchild, or any like jokey. If you feel you can handle being around people, absolutely, because sometimes that makes us feel good. Or just if you've been feeling depressed, sometimes just getting dressed, having a shower. If you don't do it. Spend a day of self-care if you don't want to be around anybody. But please, please, please protect your own sanity, protect your own mental health. If people cross a line, gently walk them across. You ain't got to drag them. Don't drag them, sis. You ain't got to drag them. But just gently walk them back over the line. Let them stay in their place. Encourage them to stay in their place. If they are offering or asking, talk through how they can best support you. Think about it yourself first. You know what I mean? Like for me, I don't like people to ask me, am I pregnant? I don't like for people to ask me if I'm ovulating, why I'm taking ovulating tests. Like, what does that have to do with your journey? Like, this is meant to be a supportive community. So sometimes I think people get carried away. So I know if they're doing it on the internet, they live somewhere. They might be in a house that you're going to visit, living there. So protect your heart, protect your mind, protect your soul. Tell people what you want them to know. And keep the rest to yourself. It's okay. It's okay. Allow yourself to grieve. If you need to cry, crying is cathartic. There's no shame in crying. You know, do all the things that you need to do. So, thank you, Mimi. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hey, Talana. Hey, Aisha. Yes, exactly. You don't need that type of energy. And then bringing it into the holidays and that energy and the whole like yeah, when I lost Applejack, that was hard, and the energy was like, that's when I realized like people are kind of crazy. I didn't know before. And even then when I had the miscarriage and I came on and it was like, because I was, and it was delayed at that time, but it was like you just relive it, especially when you have to edit it. But like I was explaining in the best way possible, using the medical terms so that if anybody else was going through it, they would understand these terms. When it said, I think one of my titles was my HCG is not rising appropriately, which is I'm having a miscarriage. That's how they tell you. And so that's why I titled it. And then people would be like, well, just pray about it. That's not helpful, guys. Like, of course I'm praying about it, but like just pray about it is diminishing everything that I'm going through. And so, and I did Vlogmas that year, which I was back to back filming on top. It was just rough. Oh, I am doing Vlogmas this year on becoming Tanika, like total tangent, total like pimping my shit. But I'm doing Vlogmas over on becoming Tanika this year. But all of that is particularly hard. And then to have some internet bully demanding things of you is so over the top. And it's like, who the fuck do you think you are? You know what I mean? And so I tried to be nice about it before. I tried to, but that's back when I was in my people pleaser days. I'm not going to pretend it's okay. I'm going to be clear with you. It's not okay. I'm going to walk you back over the line. And then if you still are acting up, I'm just going to block you, because who are you? You know what I mean? Who are you? It's just like, yeah. Thanksgiving to me in the pubs. Thank you. I am so grateful for this community. I'm grateful for all of you guys, like the real ones. It's just like, I would be a basket case. I've learned so much from so many of you. I've shared so much. You've shared with me, and it's not easy. It's not easy. And no matter how supportive our family and friends are, or how supportive we teach them to be, they still don't know exactly what we're going through. Like, and I feel like all of us can relate. No matter how we got to here, we have some things in common. And then there's enough diversity that we can learn from each other too. Like, we have enough differences that we can learn and be interested in interesting people to one another. I did not consider adopting. I have a video on that. You had a failed transfer, 43 years old, and trying to find my route. At this point, I have no answers, looking for signs. I did not consider it. There's one thing, and if you're adopted, please don't take offense to this. It's not a slight on you. I don't think we ever recover fully from that level of abandonment. And because I so deeply have my own abandonment issues, I'm working through it. I'm healing myself. But because I so deeply have abandonment issues, I don't know that I'm the right person to shepherd that soul. I don't know that I have the answers for them. And you might say, well, you might be the perfect person to do it. That's not how I feel about it. And so I'm not going to go into it with that person. I'm not going to enter into that social contract with the child, knowing I'm not fully prepared to deal with that level of abandonment. I've not met one adopted person, not heard one adopted story where they were not asking to meet their biological parents. They have felt abandoned. They know that someone else was responsible for their well-being. And I know some people say, well, what's the difference between that and donor eggs? But it's also, if you followed me for a while, you know I wasn't interested in donor embryos. Somebody else released that being, let go of that being that created that being, whether it's an adopted child or not, where I don't feel it's the same with the donor egg, donor embryo, because it wasn't a being. This being was created by me for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I chose both donors. I put the time, effort, and energy into having them be combined and create embryos. Those embryos are mine and mine alone. So that's why adoption was not the right answer for me. There are other people who come to adoption for different reasons. I was not led to it. And when I thought about it, I knew it wasn't right for me. I'm not judging anybody who it is right for. I'm just recognizing what my own shortcomings are and not wanting to intentionally inflict that shortcoming on someone else who is at a deficit. Yes. Hey, chocolate coated. I'm glad you made it too. Oh, I'm excited for you to see the flow too. Oh my God, girl, that I need to get in bed no later than 10 because it's gonna be a long day tomorrow. Oh my God, some people were so like crazy insensitive, and then that's when I like started. I would record myself eating waffles and eating my emotions because I'm like, somebody somewhere is going through this, so I'm finna come back on here. Um, but yeah, they were. It was rude. It was just like downright rude. I don't know. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. I did my makeup for me. I'm loving me for me. But yeah. I may have to borrow it when people ask why you don't adopt. Also, asking why you don't adopt can be a trigger. It can be a trigger for some people. It can be a huge trigger. And I also think it diminishes the journey because, again, few of us, I'm not going to say none of us, few of us imagine becoming parents via adoption, right? As children, when you have the dream of being a parent, some of us did. I mean, some of us did. I watched some people who have adopted and always knew they were going to adopt. But few of us did. So that's also a different grieving process because what annoys me is a lot of people assume it's a pivot. Like, why don't you just adopt? Like, oh, stop everything you've invested in your IVF journey. Never mind those embryos you have frozen. Why don't you just adopt? Why don't you just turn around over here and do that right now? What about time, cost, energy? Like, I have so much of my energy focused on, my eye on the prize that I can't just be like, okay, I'm gonna go over here. So, yeah, we put in the time and effort for those embryos. Absolutely, absolutely. I waited for the eggs to be plucked. I'm waiting for the update. I'm waiting for how they're growing, for the eggs to be put together with the sperm and to confirm that I have an embryo. And how did that embryo, well, it's not an embryo at first, but you guys know what I mean. It grows into an embryo. How many made it? How many didn't? Like, I've been the mom of these 6 embryos from before they were conceived. So they were picked at, are you making it? I am, Lady Leo, but I don't know if I'm making them tonight because, girl, they only brought 1 sweet potato. Allegedly, it's a pound. Like, I ordered online. I probably should have ordered 5 pounds. I don't know. Me and these measurements, I got to get it together. But yeah, I am. I was going to do them tonight, but I can't be up all night. And Cheyenne went to the Bronx. She's going to bring more sweet potatoes. So, long story long, if everything had gone to plan, I definitely would have made them tonight. And she's cooking tomorrow because I'm at the parade. But trust and believe, sweet potatoes are going to be made. Period. And that's on wet. That's on wet. Adoption is not easy or inexpensive as it sure isn't, girl. Please tell it on the mountain. Adoption is expensive. It can be a long process. It can be a lengthy process. I hear it's easier internationally. I preface that with I hear because I haven't done any research, so don't come looking for me if it's not. But yeah. Oh, thank you, Andrea. I appreciate you. I put on a little makeup. I put on some lashes today, girl, but I'm looking at myself and like one of them is making my eyelid look droopy. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to feel good for myself. I said this in my live earlier. It was so many years I would only get dressed for other people. Meaning like if I was going to an occasion or to a dinner at somebody's house or somebody was taking me out to dinner, but I'm really getting dressed for them, right? Why don't I get dressed for myself? So now I'm getting dressed. Girl, I put on my perfume. I'm smelling good as fuck. I'm looking good. Where the bad bitches at? I feel good. And I feel good talking to you good. Like, you guys, I feel good about myself. Because I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to do a live. Let me put some makeup on. I was already looking good. I was like, let me do a live. Well, and I wanted to check on you guys. But you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I don't know. And I have a lot of stuff to do. I don't even know why I've been on here this long. I got to edit and some other stuff. But care for yourself. Love yourself. Your journey is your journey. Don't feel you have to explain it to people. I enjoy sharing when you guys ask me something and I want to share, I'm happy to share it. Like if I hadn't thought about it. But I don't like when people are like, are you pregnant? Knowing I have a TTC channel. Like, why wouldn't I reveal that when I was ready to reveal it? You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Boundaries. In what situations is it good? In what situations is it inappropriate or appropriate? I encourage you to do that with your family. But I feel like, I feel so many things. My head is all over the place. I'm in a spot where I want to love myself. I'm in a spot where I want to love my child. I'm in a spot where I'm exploring who I am and discovering myself on new levels, and that feels good. So that's why I got up and got dressed. I straightened my hair because I'm in the parade and I didn't want to have wet hair at like 6:45 in the morning. And I have to wear a beanie and it would just look a hot mess and whatnot. And I needed to cut it. So I straightened my hair. We'll see how long it stays straight. It'll be straight tomorrow, which is what I needed to do. And I took my nails off because I got to hold the balloon. So hopefully all goes well tomorrow. I'm excited. Cheyenne and her boyfriend will be here tomorrow. Her friend is here from California. So it should be like a fun, interesting day. I've been enjoying them. They're both wonderful, well-rounded young ladies, and they're on the same vibration. And we just had all kinds of talks last night and today. So I think tomorrow will be good. We'll have some male energy in here. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think people, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. You know the people in your life, obviously, better than I do since I don't know them, girl. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. If they say something inappropriate, I want to give them the opportunity to take it back and explain to them why I think it should be taken back. But if people keep coming for you, you know you have to stay away from those people. And that's true for all holidays, always, whether you're TTC or not. Like, I had a very bad experience where, like, one of my uncles cussed me out at Thanksgiving because he was picking on one of my cousins and I asked him not to. Like, he cussed me out, threatened to fight me. So my family is off the hook. Let me say that. Now, imagine that off the hookness and then, like, asking about a baby. I think, like, all of them know. My one aunt is, like, excited about me because she loves kids. I think if she could have had more, or if she knew about IVF or whatever, doing it about her, I think she would have. I don't know. I haven't asked her. But of course there's a question of, like, why are you doing this at 50? Like, that seems hella old. I'm from a small town. People have children young there. I had my daughter at 23 and I was like the last of the Mohicans. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying. Which is probably a totally racist, inappropriate comment. So good on me that I couldn't get it out. But I was considered late because people, like, I was at a high school that had a daycare. You know what I'm saying? Like, my high school had a daycare. People was dropping their kids off and then going to first period. So I'm sure that's a question for people. Thank God they don't ask me. But, you know, random people, you're going to die. Well, we're all going to die. Like, my mom lost her mom. She was 14. So there's no guarantee. And my mom was 14. Her mom was, like, in her 30s because, again, she started as a teenager. So it was like, I don't even think she was in her 30s. My mom is the second born. And I think there's 6 of them. Is that right? Auntie Wanda, Mom, Auntie Michelle, Uncle Kai, Uncle Clampy, Auntie Jeannie. 6 of them. So Auntie Jeannie was like 2 when her mom died. You know what I mean? So anyway, people are going to say things. We can't control that. We can control how we respond. And we can control what we allow them to say going forward. So if we define the boundaries, they have to walk it back. Or we just choose to not share time and space with them. Your presence is a present. It ain't meant for everybody. So, long story long, take care of your well-being and stuff. My glasses are so crooked, it's driving me crazy. I love to beat my face just for me. People be like, where are you going? I'm like, to the store. It's my special time. I know that's right. I was laughing because Red Blonde Chick said the other one. I was like, oh, I have all these Skims outfits. Maybe I'll start grocery shopping. I can wear these to the grocery store. But I just been wearing them around the house. It's me for me. And I've been learning about makeup, playing with makeup. So that's been fun. Although my face is hella shiny right here. I need some powder, but whatever. Yeah, just do it for you, or take like a long bath or a hot shower, or just like little things. I have the candles lit. Like, it's a whole vibe in here. I got candles over there. It smells lovely. Like the little things. I painted my nails yesterday. I did my hair, although I'm tender-headed, so I don't know if that's self-care, if that's considered self-care, but I, you know, just like little things. Like, take care of yourself. All the good stuff. Some of my family don't understand, so I don't. Yeah, I know they don't. It's just like a thing, and it may not be for them. support sometimes is silence. That is absolutely the truth. And sometimes it's okay to say nothing. It's okay to be silent. Sometimes that's where people put their foot in their mouth. You okay over there? Everybody? Put their foot in their mouth by saying things like, oh, it wasn't meant to be, or because they don't know what to say and they're trying to be helpful. Sometimes it's okay to say nothing, or just to hold that person's hand, or let them know I'm thinking of you, or I'm lifting you up from afar. You know what I mean? So if that's how your family can be supportive of you, share that with them, because they probably want to be supportive and they don't know how. You know what I mean? So what a wonderful gift that you give them when you explain how, and you get exactly what you need, and they give exactly what needs to be given. You know what I'm saying? So allow them that grace, allow them that opportunity. Don't know how to listen sometimes. Oh my God, is it only Black families? Sometimes they don't, but walk them back, or they don't get the present of your presence. Hey, kitty. Yeah, but I like that. Sometimes support is silent. Okay, I've gone over what I said I was going to go over. I love all of you ladies. I hope you have an amazing holiday. I hope you get to define the boundaries as you need them, and the support that you need, the self-care that you need. I want all of that for you. I wish all of that for you. I hope you have an amazing meal, whatever you decide to do. Eat good, girl. Eat good. Even if you're eating your feelings, tomorrow is the day to do it. I promise, sis. I promise. And it's all good food. Like, there's no junk food on Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? It's all like whole cheese, whole milk, fresh turkey, all that good stuff. So eat to your heart's content. Love yourself as much as I love you. I'll talk to you all later. Happy Thanksgiving, Roseanne. I'm in the parade. Watch for me. I'm on the Goku float. I'm one of the balloon handlers. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Remember to love yourself first. You can't love anybody else till you love yourself. I promise it's going to feel amazing when you get there. I love you all. Baby, that's to us all. Bye. Oh, wait, I'm going to put that on the screen for the last thing. Let's get those babies, ladies. Hit the like button on your way out. All 49 of you, I love you. I rock with you. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Happy Thanksgiving.